Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast. It is episode number 474 tonight, and I'm broadcasting to you live out of the heart of the bluegrass of Lexington, Kentucky. And yes, this is Stephen Zimmer joining you. And of course, always like to give a shout out to the fine band Far Cry for that great intro music that we so love, and their fearless leader and fretboard wizard, Pete Fry. Hope he's doing well. Tap Room on 19th in Philadelphia, the great bar restaurant that he owns and runs. And so tonight, yes, we're going to have a great show for you with a person that is a wonderful member of our Imaginarium community and definitely known in lots of science fiction circles. But we'll be talking and revealing our guest here in just a few moments. Joining me in the co-hosting seat tonight, of course, is the audacious, the vivacious, and the loquacious Holly Phillippe. And she's on. She is on. Hi, Holly.
Hello, Stephen Zimmer.
There you are.
I'm here.
You are on point tonight. I'm impressed. I am impressed.
It has
Yeah.
been a day. I've been on point all day.
Holly has had a day, let me tell you, folks. So
Oh my
she's
God,
wound up.
I'm
She's
so
fired
tired.
up. She's fired. That could be good news for our guest or not. Maybe not. I don't know. But she's fired up. She's definitely in the fired up Holly mode. Yeah, she's had a whole day of dealing with lots of bureaucratic fun and paperwork and all kinds of things. Nothing nothing
Had a
illegal, of
tooth
course. Don't
filled.
worry.
I've done all kinds of things today. Did some editing,
She's done everything. She has done everything.
Hey, and I
Hey,
even made a West African stew called plazas for the family.
she did, and it was amazing. So yeah, we got a great dinner tonight. So I did get a second wind because I, of course, we always have full work days here, and this is a live show, so we need to be, picked up again, get our second wind by the time the show time hits, and we are,
I haven't
and
stopped.
pretty fired up. We haven't stopped. That's
I've not
true, and
stopped.
chat room is open. We got some great folks coming in. We have the always amazing LJ Mack
Whoop, whoop,
in the house. We
whoop, whoop.
also have the wonderful, the mighty McCorkle. Yes, award-winning
Yes.
screenwriter, author, and filmmaker, and all those kind of good things. And yes, and I'm looking forward. Like I said, we're going to see some entries for Amy because that's a good segue. Because yes, our call for entries is open for our film festival for Imaginarium 2026. So yes, get your stuff in. We are getting we've gotten more already than we ever got in within a week or two after opening.
Well,
call
we've
for
got more
entries.
guest applications than we've
Yeah,
ever had this early. I mean, we
crazy.
open and bam, 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 and it's
Bam,
a
bam,
lot of
bam.
new people again, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
Speaking
It's
of,
like
you're gonna
cool.
see that tomorrow. As a matter of fact, because we just started today, Holly, and announcing our guests. And the first guest announced today was the amazing James Sabata.
Yes, man, the myth, the legend.
Author, editor, screenwriter, podcaster. He does it all. Filmmaker. And he's got some great projects that he's working on at the moment. I'm hoping that by the time Imaginarium rolls around, that some of that stuff's gonna be more public. But yeah, he's always done great work. And last year he just had a unavoidable mandatory situation with the company he works with, could not make it, and it was I tell you, we missed him. He puts on great panels,
Yes.
and I mean, he is a lot of fun.
He was definitely missed. I was like, oh, no Sabata. So
So
I'm so happy when he was coming back.
So that's why we weren't going to waste any time in letting everybody know that Sabata is coming back, and we're really excited about it, of course, for year 13. And tomorrow, you're definitely going to see some new names. We have another. We'll give you a scoop tonight. Yeah, we have another spotlighted guest and two panelists being announced. Stephen H. Provost and Andrea Jones are both being announced as panelists. Both are going to be panelists for the first time in Imaginarium. Stephen was there last year as a vendor and attendee. So, yes, this will be his second Imaginarium. Andrea, this will be her first. And also announced tomorrow is another brand new face to Imaginarium, Ritu Anand, and she'll be on an upcoming Star Chamber show. Andrea will too, by the way, and she is a author and literary agent. So yeah, we have a new literary agent guest, and yes, she will be doing pitch sessions at Imaginarium 2026. So that will be happening, folks, and yeah, that'll be yeah. We intend to get a few more literary agents in so we can do some extra pitch sessions and all that kind of good stuff because we know you guys love that. And I think I saw the that rascal Devin Hilton sneaking into the chat room. I believe I did
He
see him.
did. He did sneaky in there.
He is great, and yeah, you be on the lookout for some big stuff from him very shortly. Very shortly. So yeah, he's got some. Yeah, he's gonna be coming back, I'm sure, on the Star Chamber show to talk again about a few things, along with Tim Miller. So that'll be coming probably later up in the fall. And
And
looks like yeah,
then, and
go on.
then we have the moon.
Yes, we do. We do. Of the Sacco and the Moon podcast, of course, and of course his great wrestling podcast as well. DL Hearn, the Moon, Dewan, the man himself. Yes, he's here too. Yeah, great, and thank you everybody. Yeah, thank you for listening. Keep spreading the word. We are getting a lot more listens, and the show is growing. And yeah, definitely follow us on social media. We have dedicated Star Chamber Show presences on Blue Sky, Facebook, and also on Instagram and X. So yeah, if you're on any of
And
those
YouTube
platforms, follow us. Well, we
and Spotify.
yeah, well we have
On and
yes,
on and on and on.
those yeah, the show is carried on all those the day
Yep.
after the live show, but it is definitely it's definitely carried on those after the live show, but that's usually on like Thursday afternoon that goes out to all those platforms after airing live on Podbean. And so yes, that's it. So yeah, we got some new guests coming up tomorrow. Of course, reminder that this is the early discount period. Don't miss it. We do this for our regulars every year. There's pretty large discounts on everything from event tickets to Creative Valley spaces to main expo hall spaces, and we only have 20 spaces in each spot that we're offering at the discounted rate.
Discount.
And there's been many reservations already, so don't miss the tables at the discount because I know people always like, oh, I hate missing the discounts. Well, that's why we do it, and we keep it open for a few weeks, so don't miss it. Don't miss it. And yes, and if you are interested in being a sponsor, yes, we're looking for a few good sponsors because the more we can do there, the more we can bring into the event. So yeah, check
And the
that out.
earlier you come aboard,
Yeah.
the longer you'll be, on the website, on the promo stuff,
Mhm.
all that.
All that. Yeah, give you a lot more visibility and more months as a upfront, on there on the front page of the site, and we do get a fair amount of traffic now, so check that out, yeah, for sure. But Holly, do you have any news before we recognize the folks that brought us tonight's show?
I don't believe so.
Okay, no updates from Holly, so we're just going to go ahead and recognize the folks that brought you tonight's show per Bostet Publications and the amazing Sandy Lender, the Genre Blender. So first, I'm going to go over to Per Bostet this time and give you a little bit about them. Per Bostet Publications is a small press based in the Louisville metro area, specializing in speculative fiction and other outside the box books. With 40 titles in print and ebook formats and a handful of audiobooks, Per Bostet offers a little bit of everything. Check out Frenemies in Space, Marian Allen's new science fiction short story collection featuring return character Smartmouth Connie Phelan, or try Michael Dabney's latest David Blaze mystery, A Deadly Game, a prequel set in 1984 Philly. You can find these titles and more at perbostetpublications.com, at Amazon, or you can find the press in person at Kentucky and Indiana book fairs and conventions. Per Bostet Publications, where timeless tales unfold. And definitely a big shout out salute to Teely Harris, Marian Allen, and Sarah Marian, the literary triumvirate. That's right. And now I'll give you a little bit from the amazing Sandy Lender, the Genre Blender.
Start Chamber listeners already know that author Sandy Lender offers you a variety of spec fiction and epic fantasy adventures to help you escape reality. Did you know she also offers positive, quirky book discussions and reviews on her BookTube channel, Sandy Says Read? Check out the Sandy Says Read channel on YouTube for over 600 book chats to entertain you. The channel includes the Indie Book Spotlight and the DIY for Creatives playlists, along with others to help you find videos and essays that pique your literary interests. Subscribe for free to the Sandy Says Read channel in time for the Monday night upload and join the community where our motto is, you can always find something good in a book.
All righty, Sandy. Thank you very, very much. And yeah, she's got great stuff. Always puts out a special video every Monday. Definitely check that out. Subscribe to the Sandy Says Read channel on YouTube and check out her content. She has a great booktube channel. Definitely worth checking out. And I will give one bit of news before we go on to our guest, which will be we're right on time too, by the way, tonight, folks. We're on the ball, Holly. I'm really happy about this.
I know.
But I have an event to give some feedback on, and I have an event to tell you about. I'll tell you real quickly. This Saturday is in Frankfurt. The Paul Sawyer Library is the annual gathering of authors, and I believe this is year 16. So very cool day-long event. Stephen Vest and Virginia Smith and all kinds, Ann Gabbert, a whole bunch of great authors are going to be there. Shannon McRoberts, a lot of folks are going to be there. Abigail Keem, I know that, yeah, it's a good list of authors. Check it out. Great list, I might say, and check that out. But it's an all-day event happening this Saturday in Frankfurt, Kentucky, at the Paul Sawyer Library, the Gathering of Authors. And then Holly and I had a great time at the Corn Island Storytelling Festival, the 50th annual. It's the one that we did cover not once but twice in the show. We had Lee Pennington was on talking about it, and then we had the show with Nancy Theus, Bob Thompson, and Terry Chambers where we talked about it. And we did keep our promise, and we went and checked it out.
That
And let
was
me tell
really
you,
cool.
great venue.
I tell you, we
Yeah.
all need to get a group and go together next year. It was a fun day. It really was. They had,
Yep.
like 10 storytellers, which were neat. You could tell them about that, Steve. But they had a brewery on site, so you could get you something to drink and hang around, and you could walk all over the grounds with it, even in the storytelling area. And then they had a pizza place, an ice cream place. There
Yep.
was like fries and burgers, and I mean, all these different little food items too you could get. And it was just a really neat day.
And amazing local beers. My God, I had a Pilsner that was amazing. So, yeah, it was very good stuff. And we had a great time. Got to see Bill Samuels Jr., the former president of Maker's Mark. Kevin Hardesty is a phenomenal actor. Historical fiction author Eddie Price. And then we also got to see a presentation with Bob Thompson and Lee Pennington, of course, commemorating that this is the 50th anniversary of the Corn Island Storytelling Festival. But yeah, it's a great event. A lot of fun. Well worth attending and supporting there in Oldham County as well. That's, of course, that's where the LaGrange Book Fair is. It's where From the Ground Up Books is. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on in LaGrange. LaGrange is
Yeah,
really a
there is.
happening place when it comes to the writing world. And so, yeah, it's something awesome. So, but yeah, we're going to go on now and bring you tonight's guest. We're just about a minute early on bringing our guest aboard, but our guest is on deck and definitely can hear me. So yeah, is forewarned that we're about to bring them on. And so, yes, tonight's guest is an award-winning author and screenwriter, and has written many science fiction novels and short stories that have appeared, and the short stories have appeared in publications such as Analog Science Fiction and Fact, Amazing Stories, and Apex magazines. He is also an Imaginarium favorite and is well loved throughout our Kentucky writing community. And of course, yes, bringing on to the Star Chamber Show, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce Dave Creek.
How y'all doing today?
Yeah.
Tonight.
There he is.
Hey, Dave.
Dave, welcome aboard. And yes, I'm glad you had no trouble logging in. I know it's always an adventure when you're doing the show for the first time, and we haven't turned the show on yet, so that link doesn't work quite yet, and it's like, oh no. But as you see, it does work, and you are here, and we're excited because definitely, you're somebody that Holly and I just love in our writing community. You're known all around for your science fiction work all across the country and beyond. And tonight we're going to explore all of that and catch up with you and talk about your work, events, and everything else. So, yeah, do you want to give a little introduction for those who may not know you yet?
Well, as you mentioned, I've been published in a lot of science fiction magazines. Excuse me. I've got about 40 or 50 stories that have been published through the years. Um, I'm a proud Hydra author, as so many people you know are. Hydra just published their
Yep.
11th book of mine called Chanda's Legacy, and it's the third in a series of books about Chanda Kesmira, who is a frontier ambassador. She's out there in space. She has to deal with a lot of different alien beings and a lot of political machinations, and often has to do it without much backup from home. And so she's been through a lot of adventures. The first book in the series, Chanda's Awakening, she has to guard a planet called Splendor, which has two non-technological races on it. Has to guard Splendor against two other technological races that want to take Splendor over because of its strategic position in the galaxy.
Hmm.
Uh, her next adventure was Chanda's Homecoming, where Earth itself has been attacked, and Chanda has to come home and face some tragedies, some personal tragedies. The latest one, Chanda's Legacy, uh, she's taken up a position on an alien space station that humans call the Station of the Lost. No one knows where it came from. Nobody knows what alien race created it. They've traced back. It's not around a star or anything. It's traveling on its own through the galaxy, and they've tried to trace back where it could have come from, and they can't trace back a planet that's been to. So it's a place where a lot of different alien races live, and where there's occasional conflict among them. And Chanda's the Earth ambassador, but she's not in charge of the station, so she has to cope with a lot of things on her own. Where, in a sense, she doesn't have the authority. She manages to wield some authority just through her personality and the fact that she's about the only official person from any of the alien races there. But that's what she copes with in the latest book. Uh, Although these books are part of a series, they are all standalones. You probably might get a little something more reading them in order, but if you want to start with Chanda's Legacy, the latest one, that's just fine.
Very cool. Very cool. So, yeah, so I was going to ask, yeah, if these are written in a way that you can read them without having read the early ones, but you've answered the question already. So that's cool. And
Well, what's the
yeah,
one you would suggest if someone's not familiar with your work and they're new to your work? What one book, not just from this series or any of your series, what's the one book you would tell them to start with?
When I appear at book fairs and conventions and such, I'll often pull out a short story collection called Kayanga's Decision, and it's a collection of short stories. It has a story about Chanda in it, and has a story about Mike Christopher, my other big series character in it. And all my science fiction stories are set against a common fictional background. So you have a lot of recurring characters, a lot of recurring alien planets, um, a lot of recurring aliens. And my rule with myself is whenever I reuse a character or a place or an alien race, I have to learn something new about them. I'm not just recycling. I'm not just taking the easy way out. So uh, that book would have a lot of different things to give you a little sample of what I do with a lot of different kinds of stories.
Perfect.
awesome. So it'd be like the gateway drug to the Dave Creek universe.
Yeah.
It well could be. I have a couple other story collections too that might serve the same thing, but that one is one that has a lot of variety of the stories.
Very nice,
Nice.
very nice. And I wanted to explore one question that when we speak of science fiction, I mean it can range with a lot of things. I mean we can talk, hard science fiction. We could be, on the other end of the spectrum with more space opera, and everywhere in between. Where does your universe fall in terms of that kind of spectrum between real hard science fiction and space opera? Where do you fall?
I lean toward hard science fiction. Um, I'm not a scientist. I'm a a layperson, but scientifically. But I try to get some real science in there, and sometimes the real science is what sparks the story idea. Um, but it kind of runs the spectrum. I mean, even a story that has a fair amount of science, it's going to be character oriented, and even if the basic story idea came from uh, a scientific concept, and I tend to read a fair amount of at least popular science. I'm trying to go into the university publications. That stuff is hard to figure out. But even in reading a lot of the science fiction uh, sites that I go to, they often will have some interesting science stuff too. And then there's space.com, which always has something going on. Um, I do have one space opera type trilogy called The Great Human War, and I had published two novellas uh, featuring the same character, and then I wrote a novel called The Broken Sky that fit into that time period. And having published them separately, after a while, I figured out, well, heck, these could all fit together. So it's a kind of a big honking book of several hundred pages. So that if you like the space opera kind of thing, that's another place you could go.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I was just curious as to how you define your work in that kind of zone, because I love all types of science fiction myself. But I mean, you've had a lifelong love of it, and certainly, I mean, along your career, I mean, you've had, I mean, like the placements of your short stories, like I mentioned, with analog science fiction. In fact, amazing stories. Of course, Apex magazine. I mean, you've been with some seriously credible, outlets for your work when it comes to science fiction. And where did your love of science fiction begin? What was the early years like, and when did you get
Well,
what grabbed you aboard
I, I'm
everything?
71 years old, which means that it was the original Star Trek that got me going.
Yes.
And
Yes.
once a week was not enough.
No.
Uh, but I loved all the classic episodes. The Trouble with Tribbles.
Nice.
Yes.
You know,
Nice.
uh,
Nice.
and so many of the others. And so I just started going to the library and um, picking out books. And what I did was I took out a lot of anthologies, which let me read stories about a lot of different writers. And so I discovered which writers I liked at first from reading their short stories, and then I graduated to their novels. Plus, excuse me, in many anthologies, um, you'll see a reference to someone, like back then Robert Heinlein, Arthur C. Clarke, Ray Bradbury, Isaac Asimov, and they would be referred to as, one of the most compelling or one of the best or one, so you learn who is considered the best in the field that way too, and you can sample them. So that's where that started from there.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, because as my roots were fantasy when I was a kid, but as I was getting older, I started getting learning about Asimov and Heinlein and all kinds of folks, and and those are kind of like my introductions to science fiction literature, and since then, of course, I've come to love it in all of its forms, but I mean, yeah, it's a genre that's kind of that never, it never is out of popularity, but sometimes, I mean, it does take center stage depending on, what's happening in popular culture. But yeah, Star Trek's definitely spanned the
Yes.
decades.
Yeah,
And I
I
know
got
Holly's going to want to talk to you about that side of things.
I got to speak to David Gerald, who wrote The Trouble with Tribbles, and
Wow.
I was telling him once that I needed that fix more than once a week. And he said we wrote them as quickly as we could. So,
Well, now there's so many spin-offs and all. So, do you watch like Strange New World
oh,
and
I watch all of them. Strange New Worlds is
yes,
great. It
God, I love it.
it has really captured the feeling of the original series to me.
Oh, 100%.
And especially because they have so many of what they call legacy characters on the
Yep.
show. Aurora and well, Kirk visits every
Kirk.
once in a while
Yeah,
because
Kirk.
another ship, and
Spock.
Spock, of course, is there.
Yep.
And they keep bringing in more of those characters. Scotty's there this season, played by an
Yeah.
ex-Scotsman, which has never been done before. And I enjoy a lot of the other shows too. I really liked Picard and
Oh, Picard was phenomenal.
Lower Decks. Who would ever thought there would be an animated Star Trek sitcom?
Right?
And it was funny as hell. You
Yeah.
know,
I know. They've just taken it and brought a whole new audience to these younger people that may not have been introduced to the older Star Trek or grew up with it like we all did. I grew up because my brother Jerry, he watched it faithfully. So I mean, I watched it when I was real little. I always remember watching Star Trek and loving it. And
uh,
then Next Generation will always be my favorite. I can't help it. Picard's my captain. I can't help it. I just love that man. And
yeah, it's
but
been
when they come out the Picard series, oh my gosh, I was geeking out so bad. And Steve's like, "Calm down, woman, calm down." I'm like, "Oh my
She's
God, you ain't gonna
oh
believe
my
this.
god.
You ain't gonna believe this."
Yep, she was bouncing off the walls, I'm telling you, when that came out.
And then they're
But
like,
yes,
"Strange New Worlds," and I'm like, "Yes, keep them coming." So yeah, I love it.
yeah,
But
they're a little over halfway through the current season, and then they've got one more what they consider a full season, which is just 10 episodes, but I consider that a
oh
half season. And then the
yeah,
fifth season's the last, and it's just going to be, I think, like 5 or 6 episodes.
yeah,
oh
yeah,
wow,
I can't stand that and all the shows
I
today.
hate when they
Yeah,
do
the full
that.
season's 8 episodes, 6,
Yeah,
Well,
7. I'm like, "Oh,
we're
man." Well,
depressed.
yeah.
We're depressed over losing Resident Alien. I mean,
oh yeah,
come on.
yeah. Same in my household. We
Yeah,
were distraught.
Uh,
yeah, not
I
yeah,
mean,
not e
really.
now that was not exactly hard science fiction, but my god, is it great.
Right.
It is
Oh, it's
so good.
fun, science fiction. It's
And it
fun.
yeah, Alan
Alan
Tudyk is
Tudyk is
in
a god.
oh, he's just
Yes.
incredible. I loved him before that, I mean, in all this
From
various things he's
Firefly
done
to,
from
yeah, I
Simpsons
mean,
all the way up. But,
he's
yeah,
fantastic.
he is fantastic.
And he's a
But
robot in the current Superman movie.
in the current Superman,
Really?
I have not
Yeah,
gotten to see that yet.
he's number 4.
Nice.
Wow.
He wants a
Haven't
real
seen it.
name. And
That's cool.
he said he wants a real name, and Superman says 4 is a name, and
Yeah.
the robot says, I think something like Gary is also a name.
He gets the best
Yeah,
lines. And I
he
think a
does.
lot of times they
Ad
just
lib.
let him.
Yeah,
I think he
improv.
ad
Yeah,
libs
improv. Yeah,
because he's
100%.
hilarious and they just let him because it's hilarious. I mean, that's just Alan and he's so great.
Like
I
when you
mean,
see
I don't see how they kept a straight face in Resident Alien when he was doing the alien
yeah,
speak. Oh my God, we would sit here just roll. I'd have to giggle. I'm like, how the hell do they keep a straight face? There's no way. I couldn't have done it. There ain't no.
yeah, bite your lip, I guess.
There's
Yes,
probably there's probably many outtakes where they did not keep a straight face.
100%.
Uh-huh.
100%.
But that's a good one. But,
So yeah,
I've
I was
gotta
going to ask you
yeah.
that if you do like when comedy is mixed with science fiction, because I know a lot of science fiction writers kind of they steer away from that, especially if it's hard sci-fi. But I think the comedy element is fantastic. And I know you are funny, so you love comedy. So I was going to ask you that if you enjoy like Resident Alien stuff like that, which
Oh
apparently you
yeah.
do.
Yeah, I try to put some humor in my stories. I'm not a natural at it, but if I come up with something that's right for the character, I'll do it. The thing for me is that I guess I'm too much a child of television because humor in print doesn't always work for me because I can't hear the tone of voice,
Hmm.
and there's not cutaways to people laughing, which sometimes makes you laugh harder. So I kind of I don't read much funny prose because it doesn't always work with me. But I try to do it some if I can.
Yeah, and I might mention, folks, that yeah, Dave knows what he's talking about when it comes to television because before he became a full time writer, he had a long career as a television news producer. So yes, he was around
Yeah.
the world of television quite a bit, and yes, of course, yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's impressive because
I
I did
I,
yeah
I produced thousands of live newscasts,
yeah
and when something goes wrong 2 minutes to air, and you got to figure out how to get around that. Um, Fortunately, most of the time I was at the point where I just would calm myself,
yes.
try to be
Oh, I know.
calm, as
Yep.
Spock-like as possible, and just get through it.
Yeah, I've
And
worked in live TV quite a bit, so yeah, prior as well. But yes, I understand. Yeah, that's a whole nother world.
you
Yeah.
find out how much you can get done in a very short time.
Yes, you sure
Yeah.
do. But I think one of the great ironies, Holly, is that Dave had left his career in television news right before this phase that we have now, where they're coming out with alien UFO news all the time. It seems
Right. Yeah,
real
we've only
real
got
hearing.
so long, and here the mothership's on her way here. So yeah, and they're admitting now, yes, there's UFOs. No kidding. Well, we've known that for a long time. Yeah, no news to us, but yeah.
Yeah, I know Dave would have loved to cover one of those stories that they're
Yeah.
doing now all the time. But so when it comes to science fiction, there's a lot of things that are compelling to me. I mean, just the exotic settings or the various creative types of alien races or the speculation on technology or the use of technology and issues around that. What of those kind of elements? What are the things that you love about science fiction? What drives you as far as the love of the genre? Which of those
Well,
kind of things?
a scientific concept that can bring you a story that couldn't be done in any other way. That to me is where some science fiction fails, especially some TV science fiction, where it's like, well, this could be a Law and Order episode, or this could be, you know, a normal sitcom or something. And so you have to have something for me that wouldn't happen if it wasn't in the scientific or science fictional background.
So the science fiction specific elements have to be critical to the story itself as opposed to just dressing up something in a
Right.
sci-fi trapping.
Uh,
That's
let's go back to Star Trek. A great many people who are your listeners, I'm sure, remember the episode "The City on the Edge of Forever." For those that don't, as short a version as I can manage is that there's a disruption in the timeline.
Yeah.
Kirk and Spock figure out that a woman played by Joan Collins, uh, because of the difference in the timeline, caused the United States to enter World War II too late. And the Axis powers, Germans and Japanese, won. So they realize they have to let her die. And when this woman is crossing the street, and Kirk sees her crossing the street and a truck is about to hit her, McCoy tries to stop him, and he no latches onto McCoy and lets the truck run her down. Now, name any other kind of story where your lead character letting someone die is tragic, but it's ultimately a good thing. It's what has to happen.
Right.
hmm yep.
Right.
And yeah, and that is I've seen that in some science fiction stories. Yeah, where the hard decision has to be made. Yeah, yeah, definitely some heroic
Yeah.
sacrifice
To
stories.
protect the well-being of others. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Are you
And
So
that
aware of how that episode was rewritten?
No.
N-
Harlan
no, I'm
Ellison,
not.
who was a great writer, wrote the script. His original version, his idea, Harlan Ellison was a cynical guy, but apparently he had this one part of him who wanted to believe in true love, and he wanted Kirk to have met his true love in Joan Collins's character, whose name I can't think of for anything. He wanted Kirk to run out and try to save her, and it was Spock who keeps him from that. And Gene Roddenberry, who created the show, says, no, that's not going to happen. Kirk knows who the Nazis were. He's a student of history. He would never let that happen. And so that way they changed it. Now, to me, that's more tragic, not just that the love of your life is about to die and you're kept from saving her, but you have to make the decision yourself not to save her. That to me is much more tragic.
Mhm.
Now,
Yes.
Harlan Ellison was normally about 10 times the writer Gene Roddenberry was, but in this one case, I think Harlan was wrong.
That's an interesting story, yeah, and I would not have, yeah, like I said, because yeah, as you said, yeah, Harlan, yes, definitely a little could be a little abrasive at
Yes,
times,
and
yeah,
contentious.
contentious, yes, that's a good story, but
I,
yeah, a lot of interesting stories come out of the Roddenberry era, you know, as far as yeah, writing behind the scenes. I love hearing about those. You know, you probably know them all though.
I've read about a fair number of them.
Yep, yep,
Uh,
you
we mentioned David Gerald before. I wrote The Trouble with Tribbles. He was often described as Harlan Ellison without the abrasion.
About the very nice. I had the honor of being on panels with him a
About the
couple of
abrasion.
times. I want to say it was
I
at
like that.
Con Carolinas, or I think it was, or Mysticon or Con Carolinas, or one of those kind of conventions. Years ago, I was actually on a panel with him. I think a couple times. So yeah, he's a really nice guy, though. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, based on the stories I've heard about Harlan and the stories, you know, I'm definitely, yeah. You're right. There's definitely a
Yeah.
little difference there.
You cut out a little. You
Yeah.
cut out a little. Were you on a panel with David?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was great. Yeah, he was
Okay.
great.
I'm glad that I've gotten to know him a little bit. He has a Zoom get together Sunday nights for a lot of friends and fans, and so I'm part of that. So that's pretty
I
neat
Super.
mean,
stuff. Yeah,
That's
he
cool.
he's 80 years old now, lives in Vermont with his
wow.
adoptive son and daughter-in-law and a little boy and little girl, and he has a lake in front of his house. And he said he visited L.A. a while back for business and could not get back to Vermont fast enough. L.A. is too loud, too everything.
Well, I agree with him there.
Yeah, got the nice, more rustic kind of settings in Vermont, and the
Yeah.
good maple syrup,
Peaceful.
things like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
No kidding.
he said the nearest McDonald's is 30 miles away, so he's lost several pounds.
Yeah. Well, for Holly, that would be no loss. Yeah, because yeah, she's not a McDonald's
I
fan,
don't eat at them anyway. So, yeah.
Yep, there you go.
well, that's good to hear that he's, yeah, enjoying life, because yeah, he was a really great to be on the panels with, really gracious, you
And
know,
still
for you
writes.
know, yeah, definitely. And who are some of your other favorite writers? Since we were
Well,
talking about
like
one there.
like I said, back in the day, the big three were Asimov, Heinlein, and Clark, and I would have added Bradbury. Um,
Mm,
More recently, at least within the last few decades, C.J. Cherry is great. Lois
nice.
McMaster Bujold,
Hmm.
uh, Greg Benford, David Brin. Uh,
Yes,
uh,
Yeah.
love
much
David
more
Brin.
recently would be Nora Jemisin, N.K. Jemisin. Um,
Hmm.
uh, oh, I can't think of her name right now. Charlie Jane Anders.
Hmm.
Um, there's been a big influx of a more diverse set of writers uh,
Hmm.
lately, and it's really added a lot of spice to the field. Uh, not not as much, the story set in space and all that kind of thing, which are still my favorites, but A great many of these folks just have better literary values. The quality of their writing is incredible, and just bring us new viewpoints from uh, uh, you know
Mhm.
minorities, the LGBTQ community, all
Mhm.
kinds of folks that even just a few years ago would never have had a chance to be published.
Mhm. Yeah,
Right.
and that's
Right.
yeah, and I think that's one of the great things about the indie explosion. The last couple decade or two. To cover at
That,
least back to the 2000s and up. Yeah.
that's exactly it. There has been, well, I guess it was about 10 years ago, there was a big backlash against that the newer writers, the newer publishers, uh, because you had a set of mostly guys, and I'm pretty sure they were mostly white guys, who were upset that not every science fiction book had the spaceship on the cover and had a lot of pew pew pew. Uh,
Mhm.
which again I love, but there's more to life than that. There's more to literature
Right.
than that, certainly.
For
And
sure.
they developed this group called the Sad Puppies, and the puppies were sad because their kind of science fiction wasn't getting as much attention, and they tried to develop a slate of works, novels, short stories, whatever, uh, a slate that their followers could all vote on the same books and stories at the World Science Fiction Convention that year, the WorldCon we call it. I know you know
Right.
that,
Hmm.
and it was not successful. None of the puppies' works got. I think maybe some were nominated, but a lot of there was a lot of no award that year because nothing was. Which I always think is interesting that you can vote for no award if you don't think any of the nominees are worthwhile. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
invited uh, to have one of my stories on their slate, and at the
Hmm.
time, I hadn't heard of the Sad Puppies. But another friend of mine who's a writer contacted me. This is before I knew about it, and said, you're on this thing, and I know who these people are. Do you really want to be associated with them?" And I started looking into them, and this was someone who I think had called N.K. Jemisin, referred to her as uncivilized or something awful
Oh,
like that.
geez. Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
just short of an outright racial slur,
Hmm.
Right.
but we knew what he meant. It's like
Right.
I don't want to be part of these people, and
Yeah.
so
Not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Not
politely
that. Yeah.
declined
Definitely.
their offer, and they took me off the list. I wasn't the only person who declined it either, and neither of us were consulted about this. Would you like to be on our list?
Oh,
I
they
had
just threw you on there.
Yeah, just threw me on there. It's like, and
Oh,
I found out about it early enough that I didn't actually make a nomination or something because I wouldn't want it that way. I
right.
would
Well,
love to
that'd
have,
be the worst. Yeah. You get nominated without your knowledge, and then you get
Yeah, no
canceled.
kidding.
I would love to have a Hugo Award, but that ain't how I want to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then because of your association, you end up getting in trouble. Yeah. It's like, oh
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. It's
it's
like
like I don't
no.
really know these people.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't even know I was affiliated. I didn't
right.
know.
And then
Yeah.
of course
Oh
inevitably there'll
man.
be somebody who say, "Oh yeah, sure you did," and we know.
Right, right. That's how
Yep.
that yeah, that's how that
That's how
goes,
that
you know.
goes. That's how that
Yeah,
goes.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
been there, done that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hugo's just got done just in Seattle.
They did.
Just got finished. Yeah, I saw that a
They did.
couple of the people from Imaginarium actually were up there. But yeah, I was looking at some of their voting and all. Yeah, yeah, I noticed that the no award option. that's
Yeah.
that's
I
wild.
uh I hope to go next year when it's in LA.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been to a Worldcon in a while. And speaking of Star Trek, there's a side trip that I want to get some people together and make, and that is to Vasquez Rocks. Do you know what that is?
No.
Oh no,
It's
I do
it's
not.
it's actually a state park, and if you look at a bunch of Star Trek episodes,
Uh-huh.
especially gosh, what's the one where Kirk fights Arena, where Kirk fights the Gorn?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
You
where it was filmed.
yeah.
Yeah, you see where the pointy rock place is how I think of it.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
Yeah.
yes,
you've seen
yeah.
that place in other Star Trek episodes.
Oh, I
I
know what
bet
you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I read once about a
No.
Deep Space Nine that they were starting to set up the camera and equipment, and they're like, "Oh crap, we're in front of the Gorn place," so they had to move.
Ah,
Part of the movie The Flintstones was filmed there. I came across some fantasy epic from the 40s, and they were there. It's a state park. You just drive up to
Yeah.
oh, cool.
it. So that's
Well,
why I'm
that'd be interesting.
yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. I want to go to the Nebulas next year. The Nebulas, for those who don't
Mhm.
know, the Nebula Award weekend is given by the Science Fiction Writers
Yeah.
Association, and it's where
SIFWA.
they give
Yeah.
out the Nebula Awards and everybody parties and the neat thing about the Nebula Awards is everybody's a professional.
Mm.
So if I go up to one of my favorite writers and want to talk, I'm not just a fan. I'm a colleague.
Right.
Right.
So that's how I
Right.
That's
think
cool.
of it.
Well, yeah, you'll definitely have to, to get some video in your adventures there. You'll have to get
Yeah,
you you'll have to recreate a battle in front of the rocks, against something.
yeah, yeah. That's the World Con. The
Yeah.
nebulas
Yeah, the
are
Debs.
Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah,
if you hit both of those next year, that'll be awesome. I'll have
yeah,
to
that'd be pretty good.
watch your adventures.
Yeah, we'll have to
That is
see.
awesome. That is awesome. How is your publishing schedule right now? Because I know you're building up quite a library of books now, and you've got a pretty good base going. What's the
I've
plan for you?
I've actually been doing this for 30 years now. My first story was published 30 years ago.
Mhm.
Wow.
And it was an analog, which I'd been trying to sell to for quite a while. And I thought, okay, wow, I finally sold a story, and the floodgates are going to open. I sold my second story to analog 6 years later.
Was that?
So,
Ah,
Yeah,
that's the
but
way it goes, isn't it?
that's how things
it
go.
sometimes
Uh,
goes. Yeah.
right now, I have Chanda's Legacy out. I
Mhm.
have probably about a dozen short stories that are at different markets that I'm waiting to hear back on. Um, I have a novella that I've finished, um, which is kind of an unfortunate length. It's let me look here. I'm right here at the computer. Uh, yeah, it's just short of 36,000 words. Um,
Nice.
which there's no science fiction magazine that's going to publish something that long.
Well, yeah, yeah, magazine, right? But
I,
you could put that out as a book. I mean, that's
yeah,
long enough. Yeah.
I think Tony at Hydra is going to publish it. He's going to publish the ebook.
Hmm.
I don't think he's that high on the print, so I'll probably just do that myself. So
Gotcha.
I gotta remember my self publishing skills, which I haven't used for a while. But find a cover, find an editor, all that kind of fun stuff. So you know, so that's the next thing, and like I say, just waiting to hear back on a lot of short stories.
Well, 12 out under consideration. That's not too shabby. Got a
And
lot of
it's
No
okay.
kidding.
Some have been out since like January.
Mhm.
Um, it's an interesting thing. It's happening in science fiction publishing right now. There are five magazines that were just acquired, and I can't think of the company's name, but they were acquired by this one firm, and it's Analog, Isaac Asimov's science fiction magazine, the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction, and two mystery magazines: Ellery Queen's mystery magazine and Alfred Hitchcock's mystery magazine.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and four of them, except for fantasy and science fiction, were all published by the same people anyway. So they got the four, and then they got, as we call it, F and SF in there. Well, here's the problem: these new people, it looks like maybe their experience has been in Hollywood or in the movie or TV realm, and
Mhm.
not in the realm of short fiction. And they're trying to do what a lot of writers and what the Science Fiction Writers of Science Fiction Writers Association considers to be rights grabs. They want movie rights and TV rights. It's like,
Mhm.
no, you don't do that with short stories. Or it hasn't been done. And I know there's a woman named Christine Catherine Rush who is published a lot in Asimov's, and she had a story that was scheduled for a future issue, and she didn't have a contract yet that she liked, and she pulled it. It
Oh
was
wow.
scheduled, and she pulled it, and she pulled like three other stories that hadn't been scheduled yet,
Hmm.
because she's very knowledgeable about literary contracts and all that kind of thing.
Right.
Because if your magazine publisher has your movie and TV rights, and they try to sell those,
Hmm.
essentially they are your agent for the movie and
Right.
TV rights, and they're also your publisher, which is a conflict of interest. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Ah.
and they're because maybe one publisher, or rather one producer, is going to give the publisher a better deal,
Hmm.
and writer not as good a deal. That's who they're going to
Right.
go with. So you're getting
Absolutely.
messed over there. Um, and they also want something that I haven't been that familiar with called moral rights, which is your right of a story is republished to have your name on it, to have it
Hmm.
uncut, have it in the same form as it was originally published. The speculation I've heard is maybe these guys want to try and sell stories to China, where some content is not publishable over there, some sexual and certainly political content, and so they would have the right just to arbitrarily change your story. Um, so a lot of things going on in the magazine field, and those are
Yeah.
three biggest magazines, probably certainly the three biggest print ones. There are electronic SF
Hmm.
magazines like Lightspeed and Clark's World that uh,
Hmm.
they're not included in that, but it's a very odd situation. It's going to have to be worked out, possibly in court.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, to wrap
Dang.
up your film rights along with the short story publication. That's yeah, that sounds pretty rough. But that's a good segue though to my next question to you is that you are a very gifted screenwriter. I mean, you're really good in that area, and you have a great sense of media and everything like that. How are you exploring options on your properties? And I know Tony's very involved in that kind of thing too. So you got to you're working with somebody there at Hydra that's got a good sense for that world. And are you looking into some options or possibly getting your work produced in TV or film?
Not really. I submitted a screenplay, to Imaginarium. It's one that
Finalist, I believe. Yeah, I think you
uh,
made the. Yeah, I think you were a finalist last year.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
Hmm.
but those had been around a while, and at my age, I don't see myself getting into uh, a whole new medium where I really would have to promote myself and travel um, to film festivals and all that kind of thing. And
Right.
um, you know, so I don't know if you were to do it seriously, I would want to work on a TV series, and that means moving to LA, and that ain't happening. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
Nah.
back in the
No.
80s and 90s, the Star Trek shows did take, with the appropriate release form, they did take scripts and would consider them. And I wrote several, probably about four or five, some Next Generations and a Deep Space Nine, and at least one Voyager. And a couple of rejections that I got were from a law firm, and I was told that means you got close. Um,
Mhm.
Oh.
but by then I'd reached the limit. They only let you submit so many, and I'd reached the limit by then. So then that was shut off.
Oh man.
It
Oh
just
man.
hasn't worked out. If when I was when I was younger, I was raised by grandparents, and they were still alive, and I wasn't going to go to LA because I knew at one point I'd have to take care of them, so I had to stay in
Right.
Louisville. You know,
Right.
it's just one of those things that the vast majority of people who would like to be screenwriters never make it. It's just that simple. So I'm
Yeah,
just going to be satisfied with what I got.
yeah, it's a tough business. But yeah, I do want people to know you are very talented as a screenwriter and certainly scored very well with our group and of judges, and and so yeah, I definitely want people to know that about you. But now, Now I have to ask because I have heard a few moments. I think I hear a cat in the background with you.
Yes,
And,
he's
and Albert is sitting with me, and he wants to know the name of your cat. So yeah, we got to find
we
out.
we call him Hemi,
Emmy,
which is
nice.
short for Hemingway,
Yep.
because
Nice.
we're not that we're not that clever, and he's a Hemingway cat.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of those.
No, I've heard of them. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
I
He's
have. But,
polydactyl too, isn't
yeah,
he?
there you go. There's your word.
yeah,
He's polydactyl. He has thumbs,
yeah. Nice,
Yes.
and one of the thumbs has two claws.
nice.
So
Wow.
any visitors, we immediately show them the cat. Look at this. Her
Yeah,
Well,
white.
yeah, that is so
that is
cool.
that is so cool.
So when I have these Zoom sessions on Sundays, he often makes an appearance. And there are plenty
Yep.
of other people that have a dog and have their
Uh,
cats or whatever. There's a one fellow that has a dog that's always in his lap, and uh, David will say, "Hey, isn't it?" I can't even think of the dog's name. Is it time for him to have a cookie? And whenever he hears the word cookie, he jumps out of Fred's lap and runs to where
I'm
the
ready.
uh,
package is. And Fred is like, "Oh, you always do that, don't you?"
that's awesome. We call those for cats. We call those catios. The
Oh, there you
cat
go.
cameo. We call them
Yes.
catios.
Hmm.
But yes, be sure to convey to Hemi that we're glad that Hemi got to be participate on the Star Chamber show tonight.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
Yes.
He just went to the vet today, so he got a little bit of
He's
medicine.
wound up.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, he was very good at the vet. He they petted him the whole time. And here's a little bit of cat medicine that I never knew. They wanted a urine sample. They
Uh-huh.
took it with a syringe in his side, and that's how they got the urine sample,
Yeah.
which tells me the vet has pretty good aim.
Yeah.
Wow, he hit the bladder.
His other
I've never
side.
seen that either. That's wild. I've seen him
Yeah,
put little
I knew
catheters.
about that technique, but I had
Really?
not seen it.
I
Yeah.
never heard of it. Certainly had
Yeah.
never seen it because I
Me
thought, well,
neither.
how are we
I
going to
mean,
get a urine sample from a cat?
yeah. I mean, seriously, Holly. Yeah. If I mean, we couldn't tell Albert to pee in a cup. It'd be a little
No,
rough.
but they have little catheters,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
little that they use. I've seen that done. I mean, I've had it done to cats, but yeah, that's cool. That's
Or are those known as catheters?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
yeah,
It will be.
catheters. Yeah.
Oh man. It's I better slow down. I'm getting my pun. I'm getting into my pun mode, and I don't want to
Oh
make
Lord,
Dave.
help us.
Don't make Dave groan too much here. But but yeah. I was going to ask too also about coming up here because of course I love seeing you at events. Of course we always love seeing Imaginarium, and of course at the Lagrange Book Fair I got to see you again, and I'm going to get to see you again here in just about 3 weeks at September 13th because you're going to be at the Bullitt County Authors Fair
I will.
in Bullitt County, Kentucky, at the library there in Bullitt County, and of course Leah Pugh and Daniel and all the great folks that run that, and I love going there. And I was there last year, but that's coming up on your schedule for sure. So I want to give you a chance to talk about that and anything else you got appearance wise this fall.
The, the Bullitt County event is always good to be at. A lot of our Imagineering people are there, and we get to touch base again. I'm going to be at an event in Middletown on September the 6th, which is a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
It runs Friday and Saturday, but I can't make it Friday. Um, I'm going to be there, and Irv Klein is going to be there. We're sharing a table.
Nice,
Okay.
we
It's
love her. Yeah,
middle. I don't know,
That was
middle
awesome.
arts and craft or something. I
yeah,
just know where to go. So
Neat.
that's a couple events. I'm trying to do more because self promotion. When you're an indie author,
Yeah.
and you don't really have a national reach with your books, it's really important. Um, you
yes,
know, and try and build that audience. And this is the first podcast I've done, so I hope to do more. This has been a great
Oh
experience.
wow.
You've
oh,
been great with me, and
of
really
course.
really enjoyed it and really appreciated it.
I'm surprised because you're a media
Wow.
veteran and you're great guests. So yeah, that's wonderful. And yeah, certainly we'll have you back, and I know you'll be on others. But yeah, and I don't Tony's getting a new one started up too.
I'm
The,
going to be
the
talking to Tony too.
creatives leap, I think it is what it's called.
Yeah,
You just posted about that today on the Bluegrass Writer Coalition group. I just saw the logo today, so yeah, it looks like a cool concept. So yeah, yeah, I'll definitely hope to be a guest on that one myself.
I was a TV veteran, but I was never on the air,
Yeah.
and in fact, I've had the nightmare where somehow no air talent, nobody who was on the air is in the newsroom, and I had to find a coat and a tie and deliver the news. That was a nightmare I had once,
Oh,
Mhm.
maybe a couple times.
I've
Um,
seen that happen when I was interning in a station in Texas. The producer had to pretty much wing it and throw on a coat and tie and do it one time. Yeah, I've seen that
oh,
happen.
geez.
So
my,
yeah,
my other one
Ooh.
my other one was back in the days when you still printed scripts. Now they read off iPads, and
yeah.
the printer was very slow. And my nightmare was that we only started printing scripts like 3 minutes till air, and we had to keep running them out. But we were reading stories faster than the printer could print them out. That was the other producer nightmare.
That stuff does work its way in your subconscious. I have nightmares about being at a enormous Imaginarium, and it's like
Yep.
minutes before the award ceremony, and we can't find the list of award winners. I've had I've had some strange dreams. It's like,
Well,
Yeah,
mine's always the worst one I think was it, and I always have nightmares right before Imaginarium. Steve knows this. I'm so
yeah,
embroiled in
yeah, that's
programming, and
yeah.
I dreamt a few years back that we got into Imaginarium, and I had completely forgot to do the programming. So everybody was like, "What room do we go to? We didn't get our schedules. What's the panels? What's the workshops?"
yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my God." And I woke up, broke out in a sweat. I was so upset. I said, "Stephen, I said, it would never happen, but oh my God, it upset me so much."
Yeah, see, that stuff works its way in your dream world, Dave. It really does. It really
But what
does.
what what year did the power go out? Was that the very first year or the second?
The year well, the first year was the fire alarm. Yeah, that
Yeah,
happened right
yeah,
when we opened.
yeah. That's what it was. That was yeah,
Yeah,
fire
yeah,
alarm.
yeah. I don't think we've ever had like electricity go out. We've had storms during the day, but yeah, we haven't had electricity go
Right.
out. And that's definitely knock on wood. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Yeah, 'cause that's no
Good
fun.
grief, no.
Yeah, that'd be a mess. Yeah. Oh, we did have an IT outage, however, so all the vendors were
Yeah.
on edge because they had a national IT outage. It was like
We
massive,
couldn't sell
and
anything.
yeah,
Oh,
it shut down banks and processors. It shut down airplane flights,
Airports, so a
and so
bunch of our guests
yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
get
were
in. We
delayed.
had a couple
Yeah,
sponsors that couldn't get
yeah,
in.
that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years
Last year, 2 years ago.
not July, but yeah, the year prior, 2024.
Yeah, 2024.
2024 is when that happened.
I,
So,
I,
yeah, that happened.
I may have a variation on that because I'm trying to teach myself again how to use I teach myself how to use PayPal and how to use
Oh, yeah.
Square. I
Yeah.
haven't I haven't done it in quite a while, so I keep charging my wife a penny on her credit card as a test. So
Yeah. Yeah, running the tests, yeah, for the sales. Yeah, we know all about the joys of that.
Oh, good grief.
That's why we actually keep a Square unit and a PayPal unit because
Yep.
sometimes one of them will go down, and,
right,
so we
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 got a
actually have
backup.
you as a backup, and, yeah, because that can be a real headache when their systems go down, and, yeah. It does happen. It does happen. Um, but um, but I guess one thing now that you're doing this full time, what is a day in the life of Dave Creek creatively like? Because I love to hear the different processes of writers and how they go about their some have definite places where they write, definite times they write, and a definite routine. Others don't. And so I was curious as to since you have a full time you're doing this full time now. What is your process and schedule like as a writer?
uh, very open. when I'm in the middle of a story, I don't have huge goals for myself. I try to do about 500 words in a day, which is one of those slow and steady wins the race kind of things.
Sure.
And especially, I write a lot more short stories than novels, so that means I can do a short story in 2 or 3 weeks. Even if it
Sure.
turns out
Mhm.
in the novelette form or something like that. So that's okay. And it's just whenever I'm not doing anything else. Dana, my wife, and I are both retired, but she's an AARP volunteer, and I help with that sometimes.
Mhm.
And then, I had an eye exam today. Only 2 hours later was when we took the cat to the vet. Just life
Yeah.
stuff.
Life
Right.
oh, we know. We
Life
know.
happens, and
Oh yeah.
so you just do it in between all those things. I might write in the late morning or sometime in the afternoon, or actually, most common is probably in the evening and sometimes even late night. So I can write about any time. But
Nice.
when
Nice.
I know I'm about to, I start trying to get the story in my mind again. And I'm a big plotter. Uh,
Mhm.
for those that don't know, plotters plot their stories out in great detail. And the more I do
Mhm.
this, the more detail I plot them in. Other people are pantsers, meaning they, run by the seat of their pants. Some people might write mysteries that way, and I have no idea how they do that. Uh,
Yep.
but I'm a big plotter, so I always know what's going to happen. Then it's just a matter of how to describe things the best, how to use prose effectively, how to keep my characters' dialogue uh, consistent. So many of my characters are people who work in space, have advanced degrees, and sometimes it's hard to keep them separate because they tend to speak. A lot the same. Have you ever heard of the mystery writer Ed McBain?
Mhm. Yep.
There was at least one scene that he had once where he had three characters, a perp and I think two detectives, three people in the same scene, and he could go a page, and each character was used their language sufficiently from each other that he had no character tags.
Mhm.
No, Bob said, and then
Mhm.
Dave replied, or
Okay.
you
Yeah.
know, just just dialogue for an entire page or more, and you knew who was talking at all times. Now, I there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do that, but it was good to read, good to see that it's possible.
That's awesome. And yeah, it made me chuckle too because we're talking about the mystery writers and sometimes they pants a little bit because I remember it was just about a week ago. Abigail Keem, I think it was, made a post
Right?
that she's deep into writing a book and she still doesn't know who the killer is in her murder mystery. So I
Telling
was
you.
like, oh man,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I started a thriller, and I'll talk to Steve about it a little bit and get some opinions. But yeah, I don't know everything that's going to go on. I'm writing, and as I'm writing, and more's coming to me, and I kind of know, the beginning, middle,
yeah.
end. Which Steve's like, yeah, you got to have that. I said, well, I kind of know that, but I've still not decided on the end yet. I've still not made a hard choice. I'm going to keep writing and then decide as I go. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't do that. Every time I've tried that, without knowing the ending, not without having
yeah.
something to shoot for, the story
I've
always goes off on a left
yep,
turn and
Yeah,
never
yeah,
yep.
never comes back.
I gotta
yeah,
know my
yeah.
destination. I gotta know where it's going. Yeah, yeah. I'm the same way for
Yeah, it's
sure. But
funny
mhm,
how people's brains work like that. And I don't know, it's because I'm ADHD that, because my brain's firing everywhere or what it is. But yeah, I think the probability, I would like to do a study and see if the higher evidence of the pantsers are ADHD
Yeah,
because that'd be interesting to know.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would. But but is there anything that tonight, Dave, that we have not covered that you wanted to get out to the public?
I
Because I
think
want
we've
to make
done
sure.
pretty well. One thing that just occurred to me, and this is uh, related in a different way to the magazine publication,
Mhm.
that I kind of want to warn people about is the use of AI. Uh,
Yeah, here we go. Yes.
Oh
uh,
yeah.
because all those magazines that I mentioned, Analog, FNSF, Asimov's, and also Lightspeed and Clark's World, they all say you cannot use AI in any aspect of your work because they don't trust it
Mhm.
and because it
Right.
hallucinates. And if you try to write it with AI, it's terrible. Neil Clark, the editor of Clark's World, reads all of his submissions, and normally he was getting about 500 a month. That was typical. Starting about a little over a year ago, I think he started getting 1,000 a month, and they
Mhm.
were things completely generated by AI. And
Oh, I bet. Mhm.
I've seen some of these things. At best, there may be a description of a story, a description
Mhm.
of a plot. There's no characterization. There's no real setting. There's
Mhm.
no, evoking a mood or anything or developing a theme.
Mhm.
And Neil had to shut down Clark's World for a month or so to catch up. He had to open the attachment on all these stories, see it's AI crap, close
Mhm.
it, permanently ban the person who sent it, who will probably just get another email address and send another one anyway. But he had to shut down submissions just so he could catch up. So the rule is don't use it for anything. Certainly don't use it to write with, but you have to check a box at all these magazines now that you didn't use AI in any form. So or you will be permanently banned. So
Mhm.
that's another thing that is a big thing in the magazine world right now.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And yeah, Tim
Yeah.
Wagner made a
AI
post.
should be used as a tool, not a crutch, and that's just the way it
Yeah,
is.
and
You
Tim
should
Wag.
never be writing with it because
No.
uh, for publication,
Right.
you should never be writing if you're writing something for publication.
Right now, they don't even want you to use it as a tool.
Yeah,
I know.
Tim
Yeah,
Tim
that's
Wagner.
true.
I was going to say Tim Wagner just made a post that he teaches at the college level creative writing, and he said that most of the he says it's gotten real bad, as in a majority of the class he teaches is turning in AI written stuff, and he really really made some strong posts about that, and was he said he was even going so far to say he'd give an A to somebody that actually wrote it themselves. It's that bad. So give an A to the student that actually
Well,
wrote their
yeah,
own.
because you can
Yeah.
obviously tell.
Mhm.
I
Some
mean, it's
Yeah.
blatantly
Oh yeah.
obvious.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always said that. Yeah. I can tell real
some
quick.
professors some professors are bringing back the in-class essay.
Hmm.
Yeah,
You take your pen and paper
Yep.
and write it right
write it
there.
in class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Holly was talking about
We
that the other night. Yep.
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 I,
We were
I
talking
said that
about
I
that. Yeah.
told Stephen, I said that's what they need to do. I said if I was a
Yeah.
literature teacher, they would have to write it in class. At the end of class,
Mhm.
they have to turn their papers in.
And
And
yep.
then if it continued to the next class, well then I'd hand them back out. But that paper would not leave that classroom until it was completed.
Nope.
No phones either. They'd be handing their phones in a box as soon as they come into my class. I would not allow a phone either. By
Yeah.
God, they would not like me.
Parenthetically, talking about submissions to magazines, apparently somebody, maybe more than a few somebodies, was trying to say that it was to use AI to write a science fiction story. They were trying to say it was easy to sell a story to a science fiction magazine, and it is not.
Mhm.
Um, I've worked with two editors at Analog, and they've both told me they publish one out of every 100 submissions that they get. So if you've sold to them, you've done something.
Oh, absolutely.
That's as much
Absolutely.
magazine, as much room as they have in the magazine. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. But yeah, I've yeah, the whole AA thing. Yeah, that's that we could do many shows in itself right now with the
Yeah.
Well,
with
and I do want to
the
ask Dave for we in the show is where do you see us 5 years, 10 years from now, um,
yeah.
as far as artists, as far as creatives, and how do you think we'll be weaned out? Do you think there will be a resurgence because people will get fed up with the AI crap?
I,
What's your opinion?
I,
5, 10 years?
I think there will be people using AI to write, and I think AI will get better. Uh, and there might be a certain kind of sort of formula fiction,
Hmm.
you know, And I don't want to pick on, say, romances, but there are romance writers who do very good work and have great characterizations
But
and
their
themes.
formula, yeah,
But they have a
But
right,
certain structure. Yeah, certain
there's
yeah,
structure.
there is.
there's what to me is the stereotype of the oh heck, what's the big romance company that just churns them out? Uh,
Harlequin.
Harlequin. Now, I've never read a Harlequin novel. Maybe I'm wrong, but I have that vision, that stereotype perhaps of the standard Harlequin novel. Maybe that's the kind of thing that could be put out. There's plenty of standard space opera science fiction out there too,
Hmm.
and maybe AI could churn some of that out. But I think ultimately there is a human factor
Hmm.
that the computer will not be able to match. And
No,
so there
Agreed.
may be some genres or subgenres that AI takes over, but then I think among other people who I would consider more discerning, I think there
Yeah.
would be even more popularity of the purely human uh, generated story.
Yeah. Become a selling point, actually.
see, I think you're right. I
Hmm.
do. I feel that. Yep, people are going to want that human aspect because me and Steve talk about it all the time about, they don't pick up the nuance. They do. They just can't yet, and I don't think they ever will. They're not going to pick up the essence. You can't have the human essence if you are um, created by humans. You're a machine. Yeah, they could be highly intelligent. They could steal all these works and study and figure it out and become very, very,
In
advanced. But
structure and forms. Yeah.
yeah, but they're still not going to have that missing essence, that spice, that human touch. And I think you're right. I think people are going to be sticklers and say, "Hey, you know what? I don't want to read AI. I want to read something that an actual human did right."
It's artists that I worry about because
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
fear
Oh, yeah.
they might really lose out. Now, there are some writers, if they have the clout, are demanding that their publishers not use any AI generated images. You may have heard of John Scalzi. He's a big
Oh yeah.
best-selling
Yeah.
writer
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
who I think would make a great Imaginary guest sometime.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and he has in his contract, his multi-million dollar contract, that a Tor, which publishes him, cannot use any AI in his covers. And I think one of his foreign editions had one. Somebody slipped up or something, and he discovered it. And if I remember correctly, I think Tor recalled those books and put it out. It was overseas somewhere, and put it out with a cover by an artist.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. There's a lot more coverage I've seen in contracts now. Yeah, to demand that they don't use AI covers. That's definitely been happening more for sure. But hopefully that will catch on. Yeah, because I know a lot of artists that are really rattled right now, and filmmakers because they're doing a lot of
Yeah, doing it with
AI
film
video.
too.
Uh-huh. Yep,
It's
I've
early
seen it too.
stage, but it has happening.
Yep.
I've gotten so I can usually pick them out, but
Oh
Hmm.
yeah,
they're getting more realistic all the time, and it's kind of scary.
that's
Yep.
it. That's it, and
Yep.
that's what said. You think another 5-10 years because it's moving so quickly.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
hard to discern. The image generators and the filters that they have now, it's hard to discern. I mean, really, you can't trust a photo online anymore,
Not all
because
the
you've
time.
really got to look. Sometimes there'll
Yeah.
be an additional finger or a little mess up of a lip or eye or something. But yeah, I mean, it's getting really, really spooky.
Yeah.
And I think there will be a backlash because I think people, consumers of either print or art, will understand they're doing it not for creative reasons. Publishers are, but to save money. Uh,
Right.
Hmm.
on something that they've always spent money on before. Why is now different?
Hmm.
Uh, so I think there'll be a backlash against it, and that'll
Yep.
end up with a lot of legalities, or maybe some publishers taking a big financial hit, or even failing if they don't
Mm.
recover properly.
Yep. I agree. I agree.
Yep.
And but in the meantime, we must march on and do our best work, right, Dave? We'll keep on
That's it.
fighting the good
All we can
fight.
do.
But tonight's been a great show, and we have loved having you aboard. And yes, please just let me know whenever you want to come back, because we'll definitely have you back and to update us on your stuff and ventures, and certainly if you make some road trips next year, that'll be something exciting to talk about.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear about all that.
Go for the Nebulas and the Hugos and make some West Coast trips and all kind. Yeah, definitely let me know. Yeah, when you want to come back, because we'd love to
Sure
have you.
will.
And I will thank you tonight. And I'm going to turn you over to Holly, but appreciate your time, Dave. You've been fantastic.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it. It's been great.
I want to end the show by asking you where people can find you in case they would like to talk to you or contact you.
The easiest way to get hold of my work is to go to my website, www.davecreek.com. That's pretty easy, isn't it?
Yes.
And if you click on a book cover, it'll take you to the Amazon page. Everything's available as both print and ebooks. All my Hydra stuff and the few things that I've self-published through the years. And if you want to talk to me directly, the email is also easy, Dave at davecreek.com. I don't know
There
how to
you
make
go.
it any easier.
That's wonderful. I love it. Yeah, that's unforgettable,
Let's hope
Very
so.
good. Well, thank you, Dave, and you have a good evening. And
You
don't
too.
be a stranger to the show.
All righty, I appreciate it.
All right. Good night, Dave.
Thanks now.
And
Bye bye.
and then everyone else out there in Listenerville, um, join us next Wednesday, same place, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Another great guest, another great chat for the rest of the week. Be creative. Signing off. Good night.